We have a follow-up tonight on a story involving Oregon's elections division and a $500,000 donation that the Democratic Party of Oregon got during campaign season last fall. The elections division wants the state Justice Department to investigate and consider bringing criminal charges against the man who gave the money, but not against the Democratic Party of Oregon. We care because, as Governor Kotek said earlier this week, public trust is not exactly high at the moment when it comes to the Secretary of State's office, which oversees elections. It's also worth noting the Director of Elections is the former Deputy Director for the Democratic Party of Oregon. So yes, we are watching closely to see how issues with the party are handled. Now, here's some quick background. This is tied to the collapse of the cryptocurrency exchange FTX. It was one of the biggest exchanges in the world, but now its founder, Sam Bankman-Fried, is charged with fraud by federal prosecutors. He's pled not guilty, by the way. When FTX was flying high, it was sending lots of money to politicians and political groups all around the country. Now prosecutors say that money belonged to FTX clients. When the $500,000 arrived at the Democratic Party of Oregon, the money was listed as coming from a company called Prime Trust. Tuesday, we pointed you to this article in the Oregonian by Hillary Borud, which highlighted the donation. After the paper began asking questions, the Democratic Party corrected the source of the donation and listed it instead as coming from Nishad Singh. In the earlier edition of their story, the paper stated that the Democratic Party knowingly filed a false report about the source of the donation. The paper has since clarified that, updating the article today and stating that the Democratic Party strongly disputes that conclusion, but adding, in fact, the party had information that indicated Singh was the donor, and the Oregonian, Oregon Live, does not intend to imply anything more. That's what they wrote. It led the elections division to issuing a $35,000 fine against the Oregon Democratic Party. Then, the night before a hearing on the issue, the division slashed the fine to $15,000. And now Elections is asking the Oregon Department of Justice to investigate Nishad Singh and bring criminal charges against him if they're warranted. As for the Democratic Party of Oregon, well, a statement from the Elections Division within the Secretary of State's office reads, the investigation did not find clear evidence that the Democratic Party of Oregon knew the true donor when they reported the contributions last year. Instead, the investigation determined that the party could have taken more care with its compliance. As part of the settlement with the Democratic Party, the party is now being tasked with publicly sharing the steps they're taking to prevent this from happening again, along with that reduced fine of $15,000. If they don't fully comply, that fine could rise back up to $50,000. And the Secretary of State's office says if new information about Singh's donation comes to light, the investigation into the party can be reopened.